Hi, Mark. It's Leon here. We are live. Ian has dropped out at the moment. He's going to come back at any moment. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and you take it away from here. Okay.
Okay, Leon. Thanks, mate. Thank you, pal.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, it seems we've got some technical difficulties with Ian, but we can kind of carry on with. Oh, he's back. I think he needs to go back.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, you're back now, mate. You're
Much
back.
better. Let's go for it.
I've had to jump on my mobile. Elaine, you're going to have to control the bottom ticker bar and the control screen, mate. Okay, because I can't see anything.
On the bright side, Ian, you've never looked so good.
Nice.
Damn, cheers, mate. I really appreciate that.
This is why they don't like you getting out of your attic. You're trouble when you're not there, you.
Oh dear, oh dear. I'm going to come in twice.
So are we going live now? Or are we live? We're not live now. This will be a hash.
I don't know. I can't hear Leon. I can't hear what
You are live at the moment.
It might be that we are.
You are live. You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, let's start then.
but we've created a behind-the-scenes show here for everybody watching. Welcome to the show, and let's take two on the show. Okay, Ian, I hand it over to you.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody, and just to let you know, we are human. Things do go wrong when you're live, so it's actually all my fault as well. I have to apologise to Mark and Dan. This is all my fault. A couple of internet issues on my end, so I do apologise. But anyway, I'm back. I'm here right now. So can I just first of all welcome Dan Perry from 4040 Racing to the show. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good tonight. How are you, Ian?
Well, I'm pleased now I can get on to this bloody thing.
Yeah.
Is it after 9? Can we swear? And of course, Mark Bates from the 116 Trophy. How you doing, Mark? You good?
Hello, guys. You all right, mate?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Now, Mark, we want to talk tonight. It's an important topic tonight, isn't it? It's looking like racing is going to get back underway soon. We've brought Dan Perry in as well. He's had a good look at things as well to help guide us through. So, Mark, what is on your mind?
Well, we thought we'd do a bloopers show, so we thought we'd open the live comment and then just talk about random stuff and pretend we're not live. No, there's a lot gone on, and anyone who's into racing at the moment will realise that there's a lot of information coming from a lot of different areas and avenues, and it's quite confusing. Now, we've got Dan with us tonight, Dan Perry, who's really got a good sort of grasp of what's going on, and I've had a chat with Dan. Well, we do chat anyway, me and Dan, but he seems to have a good grasp on what's going on. So we brought Dan as a bit of a, without sort of bigging him up too much, a bit of a sort of expert at the moment, because it is confusing, and it's got me confused, which is obviously not that difficult. But so what's been going on, and Dan will jump in as I get this wrong. What's been going on is we've had a bit of common sense, really, and they've realised, the powers that be, Motorsport UK, that we possibly could race if we use quite a lot of common sense. Now, this common sense obviously means that we've got to stay safe, in the fact that somebody's got to sort of go to an event perfectly safe and come home and not be sort of infected with this COVID-19, because that's what it's all about, let's face it. So track days have started to reopen. Now, the very first track day is the 2nd.
Right, yeah.
Dan, you're going to have to help me out here, mate. Dan,
First track day is
that's open?
June 26th. Sorry, May 26th. So in 5 days' time, Snetterton track day with open track. That's the first track day in the country since the lockdown for coronavirus.
And what are these new sort of? They're not rules, are they? Or are they rules? They're not. They can't be regulations. They're sort of just a sort of safe pack, innit? And I would imagine that to get the actual go ahead on the track day, they've had to make this fit this criteria in, haven't they?
Yeah. So talking
what is it exactly? What have we got to do?
There's a lot. Well, there's a lot, but there's not a lot. It's so with open track, obviously they're operating on MSV circuits. They communicate with MSV, who've obviously had their lawyers go through all the paperwork with all the government guidelines and said, how can we make this a viable option to go track days? And there's a few very, very strict rules for now, at least, just to see how it gets off the ground. And from that, so for example, 0 spectators whatsoever. I had a phone call with David at Open Track, and he said you can have 1 mechanic per car. That is it, but it's got to be a genuine mechanic. You know, if you bring your mate and he doesn't look like a mechanic, you're bluffing. You'll get kicked out. It'll be 1 mechanic, driver per car. You're from the same household. So be careful with that. Some book companies, including MC themselves, let you book extra drivers. As of right now, you can only have drivers from the same household in the same car. That is obviously subject to change, and he said they are communicating with MSV. This is all coming from the top, from Mr. Palmer himself. He's the one having the final say on all these rules and regulations with regards to them. So as the first track day happens in 5 days, and the second and third, and we crack for a few, they'll start getting a picture of how they're going and what's going wrong, what's going right, what can we change. And they will be watched. You know, they will be watched by local councils and environmental agencies and whatever the government wants to send down there to have a peek. So it's going to be strict. Obviously, like we said as well, garages, both doors open, front and rear. You can only have 2 people in the garage at any one time, but they have to be from the same house. If not, it's just 1 person, 1 car in the garage. So it's aimed currently definitely more towards the bloke who's got a car and it's a bit track, then he wants to go out and just spend the day by himself on the racetrack and go home again. But it's definitely promising to be going in the right direction. So we just need to wait and see how things pan out.
I think at the beginning, everybody's going to be a little bit overcautious, aren't they? And that sounds impossible, doesn't it, really, to sort of go racing in them conditions, doesn't it? But I think the steps into first, we're going to get the track days, then we're going to get the test days, and then we're going to get the race days. Now, I suppose it depends on how well behaved everyone is on track days and how safe they are.
Can I just jump in there, actually, chaps, as well, and just say, look, anybody watching this, if you've got a question, please do comment. And also, if you are going to this track day at Snetterton on the 26th, let us know. Tell us what your worries are, fears are, how you think it's going to go. And of course, perhaps next week, Mark, we could kind of jump on another one and sort of discuss, right, the first couple of track days have been and gone, what happened? I think that would be quite interesting to hear from people who are planning on going on this track day. I think that would be quite useful to hear. So if anybody is going, please comment below and let us know so we can interact with you.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I mean, what a lot of feeling at the moment is that you've got to keep your mouth shut. You can't open your mouth because of fear of saying the wrong thing. But I'm afraid I'm against that, because we're all in this together, and every single person has to play their part. To play your part, you've got to know what your part is. So I'm one of those people that I don't. You know, people think I'm a right big know-it-all, but I'm not actually. I listen and I want to know. I just want to know what we've got to do to go racing. And it's common sense that we have to stay safe. But if anybody wants to interact and they've got any questions or they've got any advice for us, or they want to put their 10 pence worth in, just get involved with the show, because between all of us, we will work it out and we will have a better understanding of what's going on. I mean, I don't think there's any definitive answers at the moment. I mean, I know Dan's been through this and he's really gone into it quite deeply, and he's come out with some really interesting things. But I don't think there's an actual definitive sort of answer to our problem at the moment. But I think with the motorsport world and with a bit of common sense, we use a lot of, I think we can get through it. So I think the track day thing is the first. I mean, it's a bit worrying that we're asking the track day guys to be really, really well behaved so that we can go racing eventually, when to be honest, the track day guys are they're not the best behaved, but they're going to have to be, aren't they?
What are you saying, Mark?
Don't want to be too often, now, do you?
No, I like track days as well, but you know, you understand where I'm coming from when you look at the procedure in a track day and then look at procedure in a race day. The miles apart. And there's a lot of rules on a race day where you can get, people are more serious. But, this is the key. If the track day guys can pull this out, pull it off for us, i.e. stay safe. Dan was mentioning there the environment agencies and the local councils and stuff. They're going to be there watching, see what goes on. If they're impressed with how people are sort of putting themselves out on track days, staying safe, keeping calm, not doing anything stupid, I think we've got a good chance of getting the green light. And something what will sort of light people's fire a little bit. Dan was telling me just on the numbers on who was trying to book that very first track day. So people aren't sort of thinking, oh, I'm not bothering this year, now it's over. Dan was going to have to tell us again the numbers, I forgot, but they were huge, you know what I mean? So people are so eager to get back racing, so eager to get back into the cars and get on the track days. So it's looking good.
Yeah, I will just put my hands up and say right now, I'm not an expert on this current situation or law or medicine or anything like that. I am just a race team owner who's gone into all the paperwork I can find and spoke to as many people as I can. But yeah, so for the track day, they're sold out already. The 26th at SNET is sold out. We at 4040 Racing have 2 cars booked in for the 27th at Brands Hatch, so we will be trying to attend that. But it is. This is where all these phone calls have come from, because we are trying our best to follow the regulations while still operating as a team, which is going to be difficult, but we're fairly, and we've managed to work it out for this event at least, and show that as a team we can obey these rules and hopefully be allowed a little bit of a looser leash when it comes to future track days and then racing in a month's time or two.
Today's been quite a big day, hasn't it, actually, gentlemen? Because Motorsport UK have released a statement, haven't they, with regards to getting back out racing, actually getting back out racing.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen that, do go to motorsportuk.org, I think it is, and check that out, because it does have downloads and sort of details for officials, for drivers, for teams, the plans, sort of, I suppose, tentative plans, shall we say, to get back out racing. And I know the BRSCC have released a provisional calendar, of course, for a July restart. So things are moving quickly now. Like you say, Mark, track days will obviously be the leader in this. We will find out a lot about that. But it's very encouraging, like you say, that the 26th is fully booked out. I don't think many people have given up. I think we are still going to have full grids when we come back racing. What do you chaps think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go along with that. The BRSCC have put a calendar out. I mean, listen to this. July the 18th, they're at Alton. I mean, this is all within, if the boxes are all ticked and everybody's happy, this is what's going to happen. So in July the 18th, they're at Alton. 1st and 2nd of August, they're at Cadwell. The 8th of August, they're at SNET 300. This is where it gets crazy. August the 22nd and 23rd, they're at Thruxton. And August the 22nd and 23rd, they're at Anglesey. So they're at 2 tracks at the same, they're spread out straight away on August the 22nd, so they're not messing about. They're obviously fingers crossed that they're going to get their calendar like they've put on, but that's big,
Yeah.
It really is.
To add on that is obviously their first date they have placed down is July the 18th, which is conveniently the same weekend that us at the 116 Trophy are due to be racing at Snetterton on the 200 circuit. So again, it's not guaranteed at this point. We all know that, but it's likely. No one can make guarantees in this day and age with the current situation. But we're moving in the right direction, and the more people who seem to think, high up. Obviously, these people speak to governing bodies and follow guidelines much better than us do at the team level. So they'd have a good idea that there's a chance that race weekend will happen to allow it to be on the provisional calendar.
Yeah, and just to sort of back that up, obviously, because the BRSCC have got their first day, which is the 18th at Alton, July. Like you say, we're penciled into race from the original calendar. Now, we don't know whether that's absolutely on the cards again. But what I will say is, the 116 Trophy, we are not just trying to go racing and forget about the dangers of this virus. We're going to sort of go along with the guidelines. And if we have to put extras in ourselves to keep our drivers and our teams safer, then we'll put them in. If we have to all wear masks all the time. As soon as you get your helmet off, helmet in a bag, put a mask on, your gloves on. We're going to go with that, because the last thing we want, and anybody wants, is for somebody to come out of, you know, their safe zone at home where they've been looking after themselves for 8 weeks or whatever, come racing with us, catch something and take it home with them. Now, that's an absolute disaster, and that's the sort of thing that will stop racing straight away. The worries, obviously, with this contact track and trace, if they trace it back to a racetrack, then we are in trouble. So we've got to go crazy on this, and we've got to go the extra mile. But I keep saying it, and I say it to everybody you speak to, in motorsport, we do go the extra mile. We do drive with roll cages in. We do have a fire extinguisher plumbed in. We do wear a helmet. We've got, you know, we've got fireproof overalls on. So we're used to going that one step further. So I think it's down to us to do that again. You know what I mean? And keep ourselves safe and keep our club safe as well.
So, Mark, just quickly, what have you heard? You, obviously, the 116 doesn't run under the BRSCC. So have you had any communication from your sort of overall organisers, I suppose?
Well, I'm predominantly with 750s. You know, I've had a long relationship with 750, and I'm not the usual sort of coordinator for a race series. I'm, as people know, I'm slightly different, but they do suit me, and they suit my type of racing and my type of sort of way of doing things, and they're very, very good. The contact we've had with 750 is they're actually furloughed, so they're literally sat on their hands. But we do know that they're ready. They're like everybody else. They're waiting. There's dates penciled in. They're flexible. And when they do get the go ahead, they're going to jump on. You know, they're going to jump in with both feet, sort the dates out, sort some racing out, and we're going to go from there.
Definitely.
I think we've lost Ian there, Dan.
Yeah. Well, I will add to that. So like I said to you, obviously there's that email that 750 put out to all of its members the other day. I'm just going to try and dig through and find out. Here it's from Nick Emerson, and they state quite clearly that in July they will try and go racing again, and they are fully planning to give all series a minimum of 4 events this season. Whether that means they have to combine grids or shuffle things around, who knows, but they will try their hardest to give every series in the 750 calendar 4 events to go to, and they will race through to as late as November if they need to do that. So that is also good news for us all.
Yeah, I mean to be honest, Dan, this is why I like 750, because they are flexible and they're realistic with what they do. You know as well as we do, the 116 trophy, we're very, very flexible. We're not a championship. So we can move. If 750 said to us, look, we're sorry, but, you know, that date's not available any longer. What about this date? And it's very simple for us, as you know, is to move that. And I think flexibility at the moment is the key, and that's what I'm trying to keep, that flexibility at all times. I know it's annoying when people want facts and figures and things like that, but if we stay flexible, we'll get more racing done, and we'll be able to take advantage of more opportunities, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got to think as a series, we need to find, you know, if we would have to change days, we just have to go to any organising clubs, as we've done before last year at Cab, where we were with Bark. Obviously, 750 is our main club, but we're not obliged to stay with them. So we could go to Bark again or BRSCC and say, do you have 2 hours on this day? And then if they have 2 hours of track time, we could be finding ourselves racing anywhere. The series is so flexible, like you say.
It is, and chaps.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is.
Sorry, Mark. Go on, Mark.
Yeah, just to finish that point off, what Dan's saying there, we have got a unique relationship with 750. Whereas if track time does come up from another club, 750 will get that track time for the trophy. And you've seen that in the past, and that for me is absolutely unique to. I don't know another race series that can do that. It's one because we're endurance. It's another because we're not a championship, and it's another because we started in this flexible manner and in this quite sort of unrestricted sort of manner. And yeah, we can go with BRSCC. We can go with that. We can get track time off whoever we want. And it does, again, like I said a minute ago, it puts us in a very, very good and strong position to get track time and get our races done.
Yeah, definitely. guys, we've had a few comments come in. Actually, if I can just put a couple of questions to you chaps, if that's okay. Graham Tatum has said, "Hi all, interesting that dates are being put forward to start racing again when no mention of permits from Motorsport UK. Now we know they've put June 30th for the next release date, but there's been no update with regards to that. Also, not a lot from the marshals on the new guidelines. Your comments on that, if you've had a chance to have a look, that is."
Yeah, he's absolutely right, as usual. But he's right in the fact that we can make these plans, and we can do as much as we can. But at the end of the day, without the permits and the marshals, there's not much we can do. But Dan was a marshal, and he's in contact with the marshals, so Dan could actually have a little bit of a. Just give us a minute, pal. Yeah, you'll have to wait. Sorry, mate, my little lad's just turned up. Yeah, Dan, you've got a little bit on the marshals thing, haven't you?
Well, I'll start off and say I think that Motorsport UK not extending the suspension of permits is a good thing. So far, these guidelines and rather than suspension or further suspension is signs that they're looking positive and looking to try and make steps in the right direction. There you go. So yeah, as a former marshal, I used to marshal with Bark as a club, and still on the email chain for them. And just a few days ago now, we did receive an email from Bark. They're saying, any marshal, past or present, if you're interested in marshalling this season, please go onto the online portal that they have and put your availability in, because they want to see primarily, marshals, put your money where your mouth is. Do you think it's safe to go racing? And if so, what dates can you do? And then that way they'll see if the events are even viable or not. So we all know marshals are great fans of motorsport and love it. So let's hope they hope they stay safe, but let's see what they say.
That's interesting though, because it shows that it's
what's your thoughts on that though? Sorry.
No, go on.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Dan? What's your thoughts on whether the marshals are going to sort of think they're safe and they're ready to sort of come racing?
It depends on the event, honestly. I used to marshal all kinds of events from touring cars, major national events, down to your little club meetings that 750 would do. And on the major events, of course, everyone wants to do them. So you get like upwards of 10 marshals on some posts, which I think right now is going to be a big issue, not possible at all. But when you get into the smaller stuff, I've spent weekends before in the pouring rain, standing halfway up Wooden Hill at Thruxton with just one other guy, just two of us on a post, which is what they're currently putting forward as their regulation and their suggestion for marshals is just two per post. You have the chief who will stay in the hut the whole time, and then you'll have either a flag or a track marshal who will be able to control the racing from the side at the Armco. So they've been advised not to go onto the track, not to communicate with drivers other than just get the verbal thumbs up to see that they're okay after an incident, and then we'll have the response team come out and deal with it in a safe, social distance manner.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I've noticed that with the Motorsport UK, with that Motorsport UK document. And I know that it's always been the case that if you go off the track, you've got to straight away give the thumbs up, otherwise they're going to have to get the medical team to come and get you. But they seem to be emphasising that more than usual, don't they? Is that to stop the marshals coming to the car so that you've got to get out yourself?
Yeah.
Because if they come and get in contact with you, that's obviously not that's not good, is it?
It's the lines up here to me as a way of saying, stay safe, stay at your distance, stay on the safe side of the Armco. Get the thumbs up from the driver. If they can get out the car, get them over the Armco and get them stood in a safe place, and then racing continue. If they can't get the thumbs up back, then they'll have to take extra measures, safety cars or red flags, whatever the race requires to safely and at a good social distance get the driver out of the car and the car to a safe place.
Okay. I suppose that your social distance has gone out the window if somebody gets hurt, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you're dealing with medical professionals.
But yeah, Graham about the permits is, I mean, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. I suppose so. But yeah, the permit thing is obviously I would imagine that's the last thing that we get, and the most important thing, really, isn't it? Once we get the permit to race, we're racing. It's as simple as, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they'll wait till the last possible second to announce that, to be honest.
I think so, and that's interesting you talk about that, Dan. Certainly, Mark, the social distancing. We've had another question from Richard Phillips. How do you foresee scrutineering taking place? Is it realistically possible?
They've already put out guidance on that, actually. So new scrutineering guidelines are there's a form, you've got a declaration form for all your kit. You put all your expiration dates, all your brands and your homologation numbers and everything like that on this declaration form. Hand that to the scrutineer. You will then present your car and your equipment at a good distance. If they're examining your car from the outside, you must be sat inside the car. Obviously, you do the stuff like the electrical pull-off, they can just do it from the outside, no problem. And then when it comes to checking the inside of the car, you must be standing safely away from the vehicle, and they'll just look from a distance. So they have fought and put out guidelines for that also.
Interesting. And just quickly, guys, Graham has responded to the initial comment. He says going to be a lot of red flags. Do we think that's going to be a risk?
Hopefully not with the 116 trophy, because everyone's such good, safe racers. So.
Absolutely, Dan. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
I think that's the case. I mean, with the back to the question of sort of eligibility of cars and stuff. There's two types of scrutineering. Don't forget. There's eligibility scrutineering and there's the blue book scrutineering. There's also scrutineering after the race in Part Ferme. So it does get a little bit sort of complicated. And I would imagine that's what the question is really. The most complicated part of it for me would be the post-race Part Ferme part of it, which normally consists of drivers standing with the cars in Part Ferme, all close together, and then going to the weighbridge and me sort of having a look over the cars and stuff. So that's going to be very, very difficult.
Yes,
so
it's
not that easy. I think the blue book part of it.
So I was saying
they have put out some. Could be quite simple, but.
There is some guideline. I did read it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are guidelines for Parc Fermé now. I believe it's something along the lines of the drivers stay within their cars, or they have to have a bigger area for the Parc Fermé to take place in.
Yeah.
But they have considered, and obviously they're considering everything. They're smart people in Motorsport UK, so we just have to assume that when it comes to race, they've thought of a good solution for us.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, we've had another question come in as well from Trev McNamara. Are the extra costs from tracks or promoters surrounding any extra measures expected to be passed down to competitors? Mark, I suppose that might be one for you.
Well, the simple answer to that is probably yes. I mean, I can't see that. I mean, the thing is with racing and with track days is it's basically done like a lot of businesses where it's the amount that, it's bums on seats. So if you fill a grid up and you fill a venue up, then it becomes cheaper. The costs sort of spiral out of control. How much more are we are we getting more people to work? Are we getting less people to work? I think the numbers are the same. So I can't foresee the prices going up at the moment. The only way the prices, in my opinion, could go up is possibly on sort of track days if they was to do less allocations for a track day. Then you would see an increasement because obviously there's less money going in the pot. But on a race day, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But on a race day, I suspect that not much is going to change. I don't know your views on that.
One thing to consider with club racing is the 95% of the money made from the event for the circuit is through the entry fees through the club. So they won't care too much if spectators can't make it. We have all that spectator, all the parking. We can expand the paddock as far as possibly can stretch and just keep everyone as safely distant as possible. And they shouldn't suffer too much. You can expect, as per every year, the cost of motorsport do go up slightly, £10, £20 here and there, but I don't think we will see a skyrocket in prices. No way.
And Dan, have you noticed anything your track day that
No,
you're doing at Brands Hatch? Sorry, Mark. Go on, Mark. Go on.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I was just reporting that from Dan. I've completely forgot about the gate fees. But anyone who goes to club racing will know that there's not many people actually turn up and go and watch our type of racing. But I would imagine if they're going to stop Joe Public coming in, they will need less people on the gate working. I would imagine that they're not going to serve food, so that's less people working in there. I would imagine that sometimes the extras that we put in mean that extra people work. So without both of them, so without the spectators, that means less people working. So I'm hoping that, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but I hope it sort of stays very, very level, the price. But we'll have to wait and see. We really will. I mean, obviously, if we've got to wear PPE and things like that, and there's people out there got to check our PPE and stuff, then you can guarantee there's an extra cost in that.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, Chuck's had another comment come in as well. Samuel Yates and Mark, you'll probably like this comment, I think. Sam says, it doesn't make sense for me for track days to be on. I think it makes more sense to go testing and racing. But track days is asking for trouble. Boy racers coming with their mates, not bothered if they kicked off or kicked out. Testing means testing means people's race license is on the line. So hopefully stick to the rules. Boy racers don't need to do track days right now, surely. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh God, I have to.
And Mark,
honestly,
be careful. Be careful.
I like
Yeah, what should you say?
It's not 9 o'clock yet.
I think he's no. I'm with him on it. I'm with him on that, because you've got what we normally have is a test day and then a race day, and then that was racing at one time, and then all of a sudden there was this new thing that happened. This new baby was born, and it was the track day, and it was trouble. It was trouble from the word go, and that's what you're hearing there. And to be honest, it's worrying to think that the future of our racing is in the hands of track dayers. So yeah, I'm with him. I have to agree with him. It's slightly worrying that.
It's two edges to that sword, isn't it?
You know, your turbo nutter turns up and
they will be extra strict and so on, and anyone caught breaking rules straight away will be sent home or even not allowed in. Obviously, they'll probably be checked at the gate. How many people are in your car? Are you smuggling extra guys in? You know, if they are, get out, so on. They will be watched very, very, very tightly on the first few events, at least, just to see how people behave. So we've seen it can be done. Obviously, over in Germany, they've been running the Touristenfahrten on the Nürburgring for a few weeks now, and that's been a good success from what I've heard. So it's definitely a viability, and we need to not give up hope before it's even started, but we do need to be cautious with it.
Yeah, caution's the word, isn't it? And Dan, there's been a comment on the 4040 Racing page, actually, from Lance Ellington. Have you got space left at Brands for the test?
I'm afraid not, no. So this coming Thursday next week, this is our test day at Brands Hatch. Due to these rules, we're only allowed one driver per car, and we're only allowed so many cars, so many mechanics, so many everything. So it filled up very, very quickly. We can only take 2 drivers with us, and they'd already pre-booked. So Lance, I'm aware of who you are. If you did want to get in contact and arrange a separate date, we can arrange that with you. So just send us this message over and we'll get chatting.
Fantastic. Excellent. Mark?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I'd like to say about the actual trophy itself and where we are at the moment, because a couple of things have changed with the logistical side of the cars. We've the guys who are waiting for Clarius for the exhaust. I'm afraid Clarius are not going to be with us until next year. Now they're such a big company that they've had to sort of furlough a lot of people, so their motorsport part of Clarius is as you probably can imagine, it's the first thing to go from Clarius, because it's something that's not necessary for them. They have to put staff in there. They're short on staff in the main part of the company, so we've lost our little motorsport part in Clarius. So we're going to change the regulations for that now. So we're going to sort of, I won't go into detail here now, but there will be a press release on that over the next couple of days. The guys who haven't got exhaust and they're waiting for exhaust, we're going to have some news for them. Roll cages, the 116 trophy, the official 116 trophy roll cage is back. You can order that today. Lead time slightly longer. We don't know exactly what the lead time is, but I'll get back to you on that. So we've got the roll cages, we've got the gas suspension. Nankang, we lost Ben Lawson. He moved jobs Christmas. We've now got a new guy, Andy. I've not actually had contact with him or met him yet, but I know that Nankang has sat on a load of our tyres. So we've got nearly all the pieces to the puzzle now. The exhaust is a bit of a letdown, but it's one of them things, and Clarius have been very good with the series, so we're willing to sort of wait for Clarius, and they've got our full backing sort of thing. The ECU and tuning, that they're still working. So if anyone is looking to build now a car for the end of this year and 2021, then we can supply a kit.
I think one thing to add, obviously, as an owner of now 4 116 trophy cars, it's getting more every time I know. It's crazy. But the exhausts, it's for this year, it's more of a, they don't really, they give a couple horsepower at most, but it's mostly a noise and race car feel that they give to us. So anyone who doesn't have an exhaust, one of our cars doesn't have an exhaust, and we are just going to make do with whatever we can. We will adapt the OEM system just to get us through this year. And the biggest difference you'll find on the racetrack is in the squishy thing behind the steering wheel, not the exhaust pipe under the car. So don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Excellent. Fantastic words, Dan. And I agree that having driven a 116 trophy car, I can tell you most people can probably drive it a lot quicker than I can. So it comes down to talent. Really, something that I seriously lack behind a wheel. Mark Bate, Dan Perry. Look, thank you so much for your time this evening, guys. I think we might start.
Has he gone?
I think he's gone.
I think that was his wind up, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, he's not there to wind up. Should we just keep it going?
Yeah, we'll be here all night. Yeah, I think we're sort of done for today, to be honest. Dan, thanks for coming on, because I was struggling with a lot of that information, and I know a lot of people are. And it's really confusing, mate. And the other thing that we needed to put right was while we've got you here, was the bit of wording that said that you couldn't change drivers for the endurance drivers, which turned out to be false, didn't it?
Yes. So within Motorsport UK's document they put out on the 18th, I think page 7 on screen now, it says, page 7, vehicle sharing, passengers and co-drivers will not be unlikely they'll be allowed while social distancing is to be respected. Now, as we've shown with our track day next week, that's not possible right now. We cannot share vehicles with anybody. But we've got to think racing's not going to happen again for the earliest race will happen in like 6 weeks' time or something like that. And you've only got to think 6 weeks ago, we'd only just entered the first lockdown. This country's gone a long way in 6 weeks. So the odds of it happening is, for the July race, we can't be certain. It's not a guarantee. We have to be honest. But we can be optimistic and say that there's a good chance, providing we continue as we are and there's no additional spike or whatever they say, we should be looking to go racing. And if we do go racing, they have put out regulations for driver changes in races as and when we are allowed to do that. So it's definitely not lost for the whole year. There's a good chance, racing will happen in July, very good chance, providing we continue as we are and everyone stays safe and stays at home. And then with that, they have put out guidelines for driver change races as and when we can race them again. You've only got to think series like British GT, they've not given up. They've released a new calendar, their driver change series, and a major one at that. So they must think something's going to happen. So we've got to stay confident too.
Yeah, there was a little bit of wording that said that if basically, if you was to give extra time of 30 seconds to sort of clean down between driver swaps, which to me sort of made quite good sense, because you've got to think that although you are in an enclosed atmosphere, you have got your helmet on with your visor down, you have got gloves on. Once you get out of the vehicle, if someone's to get in there with some disinfectant, have a good clean down, 30 seconds is probably quite fair, really, to get that done.
The exact wording is for events requiring driver changes, the time period for change must allow for the sanitization of contact areas within the vehicle, plus 30 seconds to pit stop. It also states that shared use of internal breathers and hydration systems will not be allowed this season. So it shows that they are confident that driver change races will happen. We need to believe what they're saying, and by the fact that they're considering it and considering the allowance for it, we need to think that it will happen this year for sure. Hopefully in July at the earliest.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's common sense, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
that is literally common sense, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. It's just keeping it clean between drivers. It's playing it extra safe and just mitigating any risk you can, or as much risk as you can, while still letting people go out and enjoy themselves on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think what we've got now is we've basically got these track days to sort of, the first couple of track days to get done, get them under our belt, make sure that everyone's stayed safe, the environmental agency's happy, the councils are happy, and I think after that, I think we can make it happen, can't we?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the strictest you'll ever see it in this next coming week. I mean, this is how strict it is. We've got these 2 cars booked in for Brands Hatch on the 27th. Both myself and Jez as team owners are not allowed to attend the event. We've had to hand over the reins to Rob, our race team manager, and he's having to bring his dad as a mechanic because they're from the same household. That's how strict it is. That's the only 2 mechanics we're allowed on site. The only 2 people there will be the 2 drivers for the 2 cars for the evening. So it's that is the worst it's going to be, and we can only hope that after a few sessions, a few weeks, we start seeing just things loosen up a little bit around the edges, but only if people follow the rules and be safe.
Yeah, I would imagine on the logistical side of it, the actual race day, I suppose we've got to sort of get our staffing down to a bare minimum. I mean, I do 4 jobs, but it's about that, isn't it? It's about staying sort of compact, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely for this year going to be a whole point of not having non-essential people at the racetrack, because it is just reducing the risk. I mean, we can't get rid of the risk altogether until this situation is behind us, or there's a vaccine or whatever there is. So there's always going to be a risk up until then. So we just need to minimize it as best we can, and that will translate from track days into testing and into racing when that again comes around.
Yeah, I suppose you guys, if you're running 5 cars and you've got sort of 3 or 4 mechanics, I suppose that's actually less mechanics than normally 5 cars would have, isn't it? Yeah,
we've had long discussions about this. We're basically at a point where for these 5 cars, we're going to aim to have 4 or 5 mechanics maximum. For this, obviously the BMWs, as we all know, are fairly bulletproof cars, apart from when you go and break them yourself. So we can hope that not all 5 of them break at the same time. If one has an issue, we still have 4 guys at the racetrack who can come around and get it going, and they will get it going. So it's just it's how many we can have. We're still running a actual decent operation.
Yeah, it's going to be. I don't know whether you could say exciting times, but it's certainly going to be something, isn't it?
There'll be one for the grandkids in the future, I think, for sure.
yeah, that's true. Are you back with us, Ian? Is he back with us, or is he just grinning?
I don't know. I see him smiling like a madman, but he's not saying anything.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he does. That's what he does best. He was better when he was in the attic.
I think so. I am very intermittent tonight, so I do apologise to everybody watching. I keep cutting out.
Yeah, we got some audio there. There is some life in the end still.
Yeah, it's a bloopers show, this one. Yeah. Are you going to wrap it up then?
Well, Mark, I think we're coming to the end of the show, and if you just want to wrap it up, and between you two guys, and when you finish off, I will just end the broadcast. Okay?
Yeah, okay, mate. Thank you very much. All right, Dan. Thanks for your help, mate. I'm glad you came on because you've been just the right man for the job, mate. Thanks for doing all the behind the scenes reading up and stuff. And obviously, without 40/40 Racing, 116 Trophy be struggling right now. So thanks very much, mate. Yeah. And anyone who wants to build, we're back on.
Yeah, I will reiterate, I'm not an expert on medicine or law or anything like this. I'm just the team owner who's read all the paperwork I can. But we've got to be confident at this point. Confident of racing this year for sure. Probably definitely from August. And then we got to be cautiously optimistic about July as well. So we're here. We're going to be ready. We got these, like I said, we got 5 cars ready and waiting for when the racing to go. So I just want to let every other team out there know that there will be cars on the track. So keep going, keep preparing, and we're going to have some good racing when we do get out there.
Yeah. Cheers, Dan. It was great, that, mate.
Excellent words, guys. I am back. I'm pleased to say I'm back. I do apologise on my end. I'm having some serious technical issues here. So thank you also to Leon above me right here, who has been working behind the scenes like an absolute trooper, getting me back in and out. So thank you very much, Leon, as well. Bit of an unsung hero tonight. Mark, thank you so much for your time. I've got some breaking news as well. I have spoken to Sky today, and we are getting a new router delivered, ready for next Thursday. So that is breaking news. That is breaking news. It's happened today.
You know what, Mark? I'll give you a trophy for that.
Might hold you to that, Mark. Might hold you to that. I did want to end it on just one thing. We've had a comment from Jez Banks, Dan. He wants to know where your company shirt is.
Well, I'm here as the I'm the impartial guest today, so I can't be promoting too much, but I will just slowly pull this out over here and just flash this in front of the camera. There we go. If you do want to go racing, I think, or if you want to get on track and try 116 Trophy out, there is a certain team, I don't know who you may want to talk to, because we can organise track day events from now on.
Dan, thank you so much for coming on. You've been a font of knowledge. It's been really, really a fantastic exercise having you tonight. Thank you for everybody who's commented and watched. Mark, always a pleasure as well, and nice tan.
It's been on
top, isn't it?
Yes. And I'll tell you what, let's maybe do this a week on Friday when I have some decent internet again. We can talk about, actually, Dan, we can talk about, if you'd be willing to come back on, we can talk about how your track day went as well. I think that would be quite useful to hear about.
Absolutely. I'll only be able to feedback as a third person view, because obviously, like I said, I won't be able to be there.
Yes.
But I will let everybody know how it went from the team's point of view, and what the future is looking like from what we saw, or what we will see on Thursday next week.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Excellent.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Leon, thanks for keeping me sane. And guys, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.